I'm Manali Khan from Class 9E, and today I will be declamating I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King Jr. I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 5 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand here today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared by the flames of withering injustice. But 100 years later, the Negro is still not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on an island of poverty. And so, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today, one day, down there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is the faith with which I go back. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to join hands and sing, "Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty, we're free at last." Thank you.
Good morning, respected judges and everyone present here. My name is Tanvi Varigala, and I will be declamating a speech by Sojourner Truth, who was a very prominent 19th century African American activist for women's rights and Negroes' rights. She gave this speech, "Ain't I a Woman?" in 1851 at the Women's Convention in Akron, Ohio.
Well, children, where there is so much racket, there must be something out of kilt. I think twixt the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights, the white man will be in a fix pretty soon. That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and have the best places everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I plowed and planted and gathered into barns and no man could help me. And ain't I a woman? I can work as much and eat as much as a man when I can get it. And bear the lashes up. And ain't I a woman?
I have borne 13 children and seen most of all sold off to slavery. And when I cried with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman?
Then they talk about this thing in the head. What's it that they call it? Intellect. That's it, honey. What's that got to do with women's rights or Negroes' rights? If my cock won't hold by the pint and yours holds a quart, why don't you be mean not to let me have my little head magical? That little man in black there says that women can't have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman and man had nothing to do with it. So if the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down, oh look, these women together are to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And when they ask him to do it, men better let them. Thank you.
A very good morning, respected judges and teachers. I'm Darshini from 12C, declamating a speech by Swami Vivekananda at the Chicago Convention in 1893. This speech won worldwide recognition because of his calm and impactful way of representing to the whole world the Hindu religion's sentiments. Sisters and brothers of America, it fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to the warm and cordial welcome which you have given us. I thank you in the name of the mother of all religions. I thank you in the name of millions and millions of Hindu people of all classes and sects. My thanks also to some of the speakers on this platform who, referring to the delegates from the audience, have told you that these men from far-off lands may well claim the honor of bearing to different nations the idea of toleration. I am proud to belong to a religion that has fostered and is still sheltering the remnants of the grand Zoroastrian nation. I'm proud to belong to a nation that has gathered in its bosom the purest remnants of the Israelites, who came to southern India and took refuge with us in the very year that their holy temple was shattered to pieces by Roman tyranny. The present convention, which is one of the most august assemblies ever held, is in itself a vindication, a declaration to the world of the wonderful doctrine preached in the Gita. Whosoever comes to me, in whatsoever form, I reach him. All men are struggling through different paths, which in the end lead to me. Bigotry, sectarianism, and its horrible descendant, fanaticism, have long possessed this beautiful earth. They have filled the earth with violence, drenched it often and often with human blood, destroyed civilization, and sent whole nations to despair. Had it not been for these horrible demons, human society would have been far more advanced than it is now. But their time is come. And I fervently hope that the bell that tolled this morning in honor of this convention will be then or with the sword, and of all uncharitable feelings between persons wending their way to the same goal. Thank you.
I'm Prashansa Rathod, and today I will be orating a speech delivered by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, 73 years ago on the eve of our Indian independence. A tryst with destiny. Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes to redeem that pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps India will awake to new life and freedom. A moment comes, which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. It is fitting that at this solemn moment, we should take the pledge of dedication to the service of India and her people, and to the still larger cause of all humanity. At the dawn of history, India started on her unending quest, and trackless centuries are filled with her striving and the grandeur of her successes and her failures. Through good and ill fortune alike, she has never once lost sight of that quest or forgotten the ideals that gave her strength. We end today a period of ill fortune, and India discovers herself again. The achievement we celebrate today is but a step, an opening of opportunity to the greater triumphs and achievements that await us. Are we brave enough and wise enough to grasp this opportunity and accept the challenge of the future? Freedom and power bring responsibility. That responsibility rests upon this assembly, a sovereign body representing the sovereign peoples of India. Before the birth of freedom, we have endured all the pains of labor, and our hearts are heavy with the memory of this sorrow. Nevertheless, the past is over, and it is the future that beckons to us now. The service of India means the service of the millions who suffer. It means the ending of poverty and ignorance and disease and the inequality of opportunity. The ambition of the greatest man of our generation has been to wipe every tear from every eye. That may be beyond us, but as long as there are tears and suffering, so long our work will not be over. And so, we have to labor and to work hard to give reality to our dreams. Those dreams are for India, but they are also for the world. Peace is said to be indivisible. So is freedom. So is prosperity now. And so also is a disaster in this one world that can no longer be split into isolated fragments. To the people of India, whose representatives we are, we appeal to join us with faith and confidence in this great adventure. This is no time for petty and destructive criticism, no time for ill will or blaming others. We have to build a noble mansion of a free India, where all her children may dwell. Thank you.
Good morning to the respected sirs and ma'ams. I'm a Dodgers from Class 8B. Today, I'll be reciting the I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King Jr. Here it goes. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day all valleys shall be exalted. Mountains and hills shall be made low. The rough places shall be made plain. And the crooked places shall be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed. And all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I have in to return us southward. This is the faith that we hew out the mountain despair with a small stone of hope. This is the faith that we transform the jangling discord of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. This is the faith that we use to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, and to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will sing in a new meaning. My country, this of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing, the land where my fathers died, the land of pilgrims' pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, it must become true. And so let freedom ring from the enormous hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heights of Alleghenies in Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvy slopes of California. But not only that. Let freedom ring from the stone mountains of Georgia. Let freedom ring from the lookout mountains of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from hills and molehill of Mississippi. And from every mountainside, let freedom ring. If this has to happen, if we let freedom ring, we let it ring from every village and hamlet and from every city and state. We'll be able to speed up the day when all of God's children, black men, white men, Jews, Gentiles, Protestants, Catholics, will be able to join our hands together and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, respected judges. My name is Asif, and today I'm going to tell the famous speech, Tryst with Destiny, by our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, on Independence Day, 15th August 1947. Nehru wrote several books, including The Discovery of India, Glimpses of World History, etc. Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. A moment comes, which comes, but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. It is fitting that at this solemn moment, we take the pledge of dedication to the service of India and her people, and to the still larger cause of humanity. At the dawn of history, India started on her unending quest, and trackless centuries which are filled with her striving and the grandeur of her success and her failures. Through good and ill fortunes alike, she has never lost the sight of that quest or forgotten the ideals which gave her strength. We end today a period of ill fortune, and India discovers herself again. The achievement we celebrate today is but a step, an opening of opportunity to the greater triumphs and achievements that await us. Are we brave enough? Are we wise enough to grasp this opportunity and accept the challenge of the future? Jai Hind!
Good morning, one and all. Life is not outside of you. You are life. A beautiful saying by Sadhguru, a yogi, mystic, and a visionary. Sri Sadhguru is the founder of the Isha Foundation and also India's 50 most influential people. No population on the planet is as water distressed as the Indian population. On an average, 40% decline has happened in all the rivers over the past 50 years. With the Rally for River campaign, the thing that changed in the country is that whenever you talked about water augmentation, people talked about checked dams, various river linkings, this thing, that thing, etc. But now, that conversation has changed in the country over the past 3 years. People now are talking about vegetation. If river water is to be augmented, then it can be enhanced by increasing the vegetation. You gave that missed call, and for that one simple act, we bow down to you. We moved the governments because 162 million people gave that missed call. In a democratic nation, if you're not behind something, then those things will not happen. For me to give you a picture of what it means, no movement in the history of humanity has gotten the support of 162 million people in just 30 days' time. We are changing the landscapes by largely bringing in horticulture and agroforestry, which will enhance the farmer's income. People think that there are trees because of water. No, there is water because of trees. So let us all take an oath to change this and improve the vegetation for the rivers to flow. This is not a protest, nor this is an agitation. This is a campaign. And now I'm going to sing a little song for you. Bharatam Mahabharatam Ganga Narmada Punyatirtam Nadirashasya Mahamritam Bharatam. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable guests, respected teachers, and my dear friends. I am here to present a speech by late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, delivered at IIT Hyderabad. I have three visions for India. In 3,000 years of our history, people from all over the world have invaded us, captured our lands, and conquered our minds. From Alexander onwards, the Greeks, the Turks, the Mughals, the Portuguese, the British, the French, the Dutch, all of them came and looted us, took over what was ours. Yet we have not done this to any other nation. We have not conquered anyone. We have not grabbed their land, their culture, their history, and tried to enforce our way of life on them. Why? Because we respect the freedom of others. That is why my first vision is that of freedom. I believe we got the first vision of this in 1857 when we started the War of Independence. It is this freedom which we must protect and nurture and build on. If we are not free, no one will respect us. My second vision for India is development. We have 10% growth rate in most areas. Our poverty levels are falling. Our achievements are being globally recognized today. Yet, we lack the self-confidence to see ourselves as a developed nation, self-reliant and self-assured. Isn't this incorrect? I have a third vision. India must stand up to the world. Because I believe unless India stands up to the world, no one will respect us. Only strength respects strength. We must be strong, not only as a military power, but also as an economic power. Both must go hand in hand. You say that our government is inefficient. You say that our laws are too old. You say that the municipality does not pick up the garbage. You say that the phones don't work, the railways are a joke, the airline is the worst in the world, and mails never reach their destination. You say that our country is being fed to the dogs and is the absolute pits. You say. What do you do about it? Dear Indians, I am echoing J.F. Kennedy's words to his fellow Americans to relate to Indians. Ask what we can do for India and do what has to be done to make India what America and other Western countries are today. Thank you.